Now, our next point in on this chapter, that is the morphology of flowering plant, that is a stem. Stem, you know very well about the stem. Then first, origin of stem. Origin of stem. Then how in last point, last lecture, we study origin of root. That is radical. And similarly, from this seed, when that seed get a favorable condition, this kind of structure is formed, and that is called as plumule. And when we are talking about some certain similarities and dissimilarities of the root and stem, then what we observe, that is uh, this stem is positively phototropic. In case of root, this stem root is positive, negatively phototropic. In case of root, we found uh, positively geotropic. In case of stem, we found negatively geotropic. All kind of variations, differences we can observe in stem and root. And first, the stem is uh, formed from the plumule. Okay, this is the seed, and when this seed get a favorable condition, then what is favorable condition? A sufficient amount of water, sufficient amount of soil, water, and nutrition. After getting some, all these things we can call them as a favorable condition. Then, and after that getting favorable condition, this embryo get developed and that form this kind of structure, that is radical and plumule. From this radical we found a root system. From this plumule we found a aerial shoot system or shoot system. Then stem is a aerial part of the plant body known as shoot system. Aerial because it's grow to upward, grow towards the sunlight. Then ascending part of plant, ascending, ऊपर जा रहा है, that's why we call them as the ascending part. Develop from the plumule, I'm already told you, develop from the plumule. Then presence of nodes and internodes is a peculiar character of a stem. What is that? When you people say see a cane sugar, on the cane sugar we found this kind of structures, right? And this is called as node. This is called as node. And the distance between two successive nodes is called as internode. Okay? Then this stem is positively phototropic. This stem is positively phototropic because it grows towards the sunlight. Negatively it is geotropic because it grows away from the soil surface. Then show different birds, that is auxiliary birds. Here we found birds. This is a bird. This bird is called as auxiliary bird. Why we call this bird as auxiliary bird? Because this present inside in the axis of this stem and this leaf. That's why we call it as a auxiliary bird. Understand? What you call? Why we call this auxiliary bird? Because this bird is present in the axis of this stem and this leaf. That's why we call them auxiliary bird. And what is the function of auxiliary bird? These auxiliary bird form branches. Then next thing is apical bird. This word indicates where it found. It is apical region. What is the function of this apical region? Apical bird. This apical bird, they are elongate and they form a apical growth of the particular stem or particular plant. Then all these things are about the peculiar character of the stem, then accessory. Then we can see different kinds of modifications are present inside, or different modifications are found in the stem. Here, modification of stem. Why they get modified? Modified, every plant or every organism get modified for the survival or in different habitat. For the survival of different habitat, they modify themselves. They forming a certain kinds of functions, and they performing they producing this different kind of structure. That is, stem develops some modification for additional or accessory function to perform such function. That is a underground stem. First is called A is underground stem. Underground stem. This underground stem, in some herbaceous plant, stem develop below the soil. In herbaceous plants, stem develop below the soil surface, called as underground stem. Underground stem remains dormant during unfavorable condition, and on the advance of favorable condition produces aerial shoot. Underground stem is known as store food, and in perennation as vegetation property. Okay, then in this underground stem we having one that is a rhizome. What we having, that is a rhizome. The best example of this underground stem, that is a rhizome, we can call ginger. We can give one example of ginger. I previously told you that is the ginger or this rhizome, the underground modification. What does that do? This apical, what we found here, apical bud. Here we already told you the apical bud go towards then his axillary bud. Here we found axillary bud because these are the scaly leaves. Here we found the scaly leaves. In the axis of scaly leaves and this stem, we found the axillary bud. This axillary bud develop this inside the soil. A number of branches develop there. This axillary bud and apical bud, and they forming this kind of structure also. They forming this kind of structure also. This is called as leaves, and this is the underground part. Then when the leaves in the process of photosynthesis, they produces for forming photos. In the process of photosynthesis, they prepare a food material, and that prepared food material they store inside this rhizome. Then one question arises in your mind, sir, this structure is under the soil. How we can call them as a underground stem? Because on the surface of the rhizome inside your home, you can also observe that they take a piece of ginger, and on that we found this type of structures. This is a node, this is node, and distance between two successive nodes is called as internode. All these structures are present on the rhizome. That's why we call it as a underground stem. And this rhizome, what they in unfavorable condition, when they get water and mineral nutrition, they doesn't get at that time. They are dormant in the soil. And after getting favorable condition, they produce again this kind of aerial portion or vegetative parts, very vegetative portion. This is a underground stem, that is example is rhizome, and this ginger you can see at your home also. And observe it carefully, where is present stem nodes or internodes on that or not. Okay, then stem tuber. Second point is stem tuber. Stem tuber. A best example of stem tuber is, I'm drawing. Guess what is that? Like this also. This is called a stem tuber. Okay. You recall that? That is a potato. Why we call potato as a stem tuber? Stem because we found here, 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 here and here. Here also these birds are present. Here is nodal region are also present. After regular interval on the potato, we found this kind of structure. And the best example of stem tuber is potato. This underground part, from there we found a number of branches, branches form this kind of structure that is called a stem tuber. This stem tuber is also helpful or useful for the vegetative propagation. In an unfavorable condition, they get dormant, and when they get a favorable condition, they produce a aerial stem or aerial plant. Then next is bulbil. Next is bulb. B-U-L-B. B-U-L-B. Bulbil is another point. What is bulbil? Then inside your at your home, inside the kitchen, you found garlic. We found onion. Then that onion, we found that stem, they get a discoid structure. If you observe that stem like this is that stem. What we call on the stem surface, we found nodes and internodes. Okay, then from this stem, what there is a formation of leaves. 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 Some leaves, they are inside the stem, inside the onion. We found they are somewhat thick, and in the outer wall there is somewhat scaly leaves or somewhat thin that is called as scaly leaves. Then what is that? Here, on this stem region, there is leaves are formed. They are thick, and when this stem, they get modified into disc-like structure, discoid-like structure, and they form this thick leaves called as scaly leaves. Okay, this is an example of bulbils. Okay, then next example is corm. Next example is corm. Next example is corm. Then corm is Stolon underground spherical. Stolon underground spherical. Stolon underground spherical structure. What is that? That under the soil we found this structure. On that we found this kind of structure that is called as nodes. These are the nodes. Okay, then This is called as underground stem. This is called an underground stem. Then from this we found this kind of structures. They are called as daughter. Called as daughter corn. Daughter corn. Why we call daughter corn? Because it has this corn is break from here, and from that this corn has the ability to produce this kind of structure. That's why we call it the daughter corn. Then we found here adventitious type of root system, ADV roots. And this corn is also, when this corn get a favorable, unfavorable condition, this aerial system they get disappeared. And when they get favorable condition, again this corn produces this kind of aerial system. This is another modification of corn. Then we can call this Arabic also. Then next is subaerial modification of stem. Inside the modification we found that is a subaerial stem. Subaerial stem. The word indicates that this a stem they are present a certain limit towards the aerial region. That stem develop the aerial part, that is trailer. This trailer, what developed the trailer produces this kind of structure on the aerial part. Okay, a number of leaves are also present there, like this. This is the example of trailer. Then runner. Second one is runner. Example of runner is cynodon. I draw one diagram for you people. This is then this produces, from this we found again in Marathi we call them as harari also. This is a, and what I observed that in certain region this aerial part they get upwards, this stem region they get upward, and then again they get a downward, and at the outer region where attaches with the soil surface, from that there is a formation of again aerial system. This is a best example of vegetative propagation. When this get break from a mother plant, then this has the ability to produce this kind of new structure. Example is cynodon, or we can call it as runner. Why we call runner? Because they are prostately or horizontally, parallelly grow on the soil's surface. That's why we call we include them in a subaerial modification. Okay. Then Stolon. What is Stolon? Stolon is similar like that. In the Stolon, its example is mentha. This is mentha. We can call it mentha. This mentha, the slender lateral branches of arising from the base of main axis. Arises from the base of the main axis. If this is the base of main axis, then from this base here a lateral branches arise. From this sometimes this aerial part, and then attaches to the soil surface and produces this kind of structures. That's why we call them as We include them as and this distance between two plants is called a stolon. This is called a stolon. Okay. Then sucker. The next is sucker. Next is sucker. What is that? It is a non-green runner-like branch. It is non-green runner-like branch of stem in which develop from underground base of roots. It grows horizontally. It grows horizontally below soil and finally come above the soil surface. They come above. This is that structure. They comes above the soil surface. They comes above the soil surface. The example is banana, sorry. Then next is offset. Next is offset. This offset is observed in all aquatic, few aquatic plant like Pistia, like Ecornia. They are found. The two plants, they are connecting. This is particular plant, and these two plants, they are connect with each other like that, like this. Okay, and this is the water. This is the water, and they are connected with these two plants. They are connected from here. And because of that wires, these are one internode long runner in a plant, groundwater, underground water, or on the surface of water they form. The example is Pistia and Ecornia. And we are forming some aerial modification. Some aerial modification. See, it is aerial modification. Aerial modification. And what is inside that? Stem or its vegetative part modified to carry out specialized function. They develop various modification for this purpose. Such modification stem are called as metamorphosed stem. The different modification can be discussed here. Then first one is thorn. First one is thorn. It is modified by a apical or axillary bud. Apical bud or axillary bud. Apical bud or axillary bud. For what? Thorn. They are hard. Thorn. They are hard like this. Hard. They are pointed. They are hard, pointed, and mostly straight structure where is curved and useful as for the climbing purpose also. And they are used to protect themselves. They are used in for the transpiration to avoid excess loss of water. For that they prepare this type of structure, that is a thorn. Then next is phylloclade. Next is phylloclade. Then this phylloclade, this is modification of stem into leaf-like photosynthetic organ. Modification of stem into leaf-like photosynthetic organ. Here in our book, we found this kind of structures. Okay. This is on this we found this thorn. These are the phylloclade. This phylloclade, they are the stem. On the stem we found leaves. That leaves get modified into stem. These leaves get modified into stem. These leaves modified into spines or thorns. This example is this phylloclade. This is open shear. This is found in xerophytic condition. To avoid excess loss of water, this stem is converted to leaf-like, thick leaf-like structure, and that leaf-like structure having they having water content capacity, water content storage capacity. Then because of the green color, they perform photosynthetic function, and this phylloclade they get modified, that or that stem that get modified this thick leafy structure to survive in the xerophytic habitat. Then cladodes, the branch of limited growth. Cladodes, what is that? Cladodes, the branch of limited growth in one internode long and permanent photosynthetic function, are called cladode. True leaves are reduced to spine and scale. Example, asparagus. Okay. Then next example is chlorophyllus. Next example is chlorophylls. They are present, or they are formed on the axis of they forming the leaf-like structure. Like this, they are formed on the leaf-like structure. They are leaf-like structure borne on the axis of scaly leaves and has floor bud scale leaf in the middle upper hole in the leaf upper surface of the leaf. Okay. Then next is bulbils. Last is bulbils. What is that bulbils? Bulbils in plants like Dioscorea, axillary buds come fleshy. Axillary buds, what is the axillary buds? Here, this is the branch and this is the axis. This axillary bud convert into this kind of structure. This axillary bud convert into this kind of structure. That is called as bulbils. This kind of structure. And what is that bulbil? Bulbils are the store form of food material. They are having the store form of food material, and that bulbils, when they are developed or they are matured and they break from that this plant part, and they produces a vegetative structure. That's why they are, when the falls of it produces new plant and helps in vegetative propagation. And all these kind of structures are also present, like stem tendrils, and all these tendrils, they are performing a various kind of structure. Those plants, we are unable to give mechanical support. Those stem to give mechanical support to unable to give mechanical support. That stem, they are producing a wire-like, tube-like structure, and that is called as tendril. And that tendril, they give a mechanical support to that particular plant, and that plant can grow upward and upward with the help of that support. This is all about the today's our that is modification of stem.